a variety of factors such as demographic changes and legislative developments, technological advancements, right, changes in norms and values of the society, secularization, globalization and intermingling of cultures, migration, etc. So what are some of these changes that we can speak of? We discussed Anthony Giddens' views regarding how the nature of intimacy has transformed and contemporary society is characterized by the development of what he terms as plastic sexuality or pure love. Then we had spoken of how the age of marriage is on the rise and is currently at about 28 and 30 for women and men respectively in the West. And this contributes to a lowering of the fertility rate and institutionalization of premarital sex. Then we discussed how live-in relationships, 7% of US population is in unmarried cohabitation. We discussed what else, trends in reproduction, that childlessness is on the rise, that technology is playing an increasingly important role in the birthing process, that the fertility rate is on a decline, so much so that several countries have a negative population growth or a declining overall population. We discussed how the elderly, they are increasingly opting to stay alone rather than move in with their adult children after the demise of a spouse. We also discussed how intra-family relations have undergone a change, becoming more egalitarian and democratic, the husband-wife relationship as well as the parent-child relationship. Then we spoke of what the heteronorm breaking down with greater acceptance of the same-sex unions and the blurring of the lines between friendship and intimacy, sexual intimacy, right? We discussed changing societal attitudes towards same-sex unions, indicating much greater acceptance. We discussed what else? Several such things, right? We discussed multi-racial, multi-ethnic, multi-religious families. We discussed how the serial packet image of the family is not the actual portrayal of family life. In fact, family life exhibits greater diversity than the serial packet image of the heterosexual, happily married kind of a couple and their dependent children. And we discussed how almost a fourth or fifth of all households were of this type, right? Heterosexual couple with dependent children. And then single person households and single parent households were on the rise. What else? Yes, we discussed very high divorce rates due to a variety of factors. Divorce laws becoming more, easier, making it easier, then the stigma associated with divorce is coming down, financial independence of women, and so on and so forth. And Parsons would suggest that this indicates the high value that Western societies associate with the institution of marriage rather than low value, right? And it is also corroborated by the high rate of remarriage, and these high divorce rates and remarriage rates lead to more single-parent families and step families. So all this we discussed. Yeah. Then we talked about the causes, which I did wrap up like initially. So that is pretty much about it. Today we discuss the position of women in Western societies. The position of women in Western societies. Why we discussed about the West and not about India? Because in paper 1 we primarily discuss Western scholars. We will be discussing sufficiently about family, marriage, changes therein in Indian society as well, but in paper 2. Okay? Chali. So let us begin to appreciate the position of women in the Western world, but briefly with some insight in our own society. Okay, so what is your take, friends, since you are a member of this society, Indian society? How do women fare vis-a-vis men? Are they equals? Or are they worse off or better off? So it is almost unanimously you guys are suggesting that women in Indian society are worse off in many ways compared to men. Why would you say so, yeah? Including the female civil services aspirants who have been permitted by their gracious fathers and brothers to strive for something so prized as civil services. So tell me, friends, what plagues or ails women in Indian society? Why do you think they are worse off than men? Maybe not you personally, but women in Indian society. So we are an orthodox society. We are patriarchal and traditional. Women are subjugated, such heavy words, huh? So traditional say, such as the Parda system, the Ghungat, they are physically secluded. They are financially dependent on men, alright. Their role is more reproductive than productive. Expected to be sanskari. So yes, there are stereotypes associated. Literacy rate is worse than men. Women also accept such a position. They don't have a role in decision making. They're treated as an economic burden with practices like dowry. They're objectified, limited freedom. You can't move out of the house without permission. Women also put women down. Sex ratio is adverse. Alright, okay, so for now, I accept your contention that women in Indian society are worse off than men. Right? It is reflected in the poor child sex ratio, overall sex ratio, their lesser participation in the economic activities. They are basically, their social role is confined to birthing and mothering, and so on and so forth. Okay? There is parda, they don't have a decision-making autonomy, and so on. And then you have dowry and kanyadan and all those seemingly very patriarchal kind of practices. So tell me, friends, granted, what is your sense? Now I'll ask this question to specific persons. What is your sense? How is the position of women in the West, in Western societies? Firstly, my question is to those who have never been to another Western society, but we still have some idea about the Western world through the internet, movies, Western movies, right? Their serials, media portrayal, news networks, etc. So what is your sense? How is the position of women in the West? Way better than ours. A lot better. They have more freedom. They have equal status. They have better opportunities. They are more independent, financially very importantly, and they are treated equally. Better off than Indian women. They are not just a wife. They are educated. No stereotypes. They have a lot of freedom. What kind of freedom are you talking about? What do you think? What kind of freedom do Indian women lack that women in the West have? We also want to know. Aap chahte kya ho? What kind of freedom are you talking about? Okay, so they don't have dowry pratha. Yes. They have high literacy rates, equity between men and women. Single mothers are not judged in the West, for instance. All right. Freedom of clothing, right? So they can wear any kind of clothes that they fancy, they choose, without being told by their husbands, fathers, or brothers, unlike in our society. They are financially independent. They participate in the economy significantly. Modern egalitarian women. They have decision-making freedom. For example, friends, one very casual observation, right? Not maybe worthy of mentioning in the exam sheet, but in public, if women are smoking in the West, they aren't like necessarily judged on that basis, in contrast to say a woman smoking in public in India, in an Indian city. They have the freedom to choose their partner. They can stay outside for long hours. Unlike in our society where you receive a call from your husband, father, brother, whoever is your controller and guardian. Kahan ho? Okay, so all of you suggesting that Western society is in many ways a gender equal society. Women are independent, they have freedom, they have decision-making power. Please write down, friends. Please note. Women constitute half of the world's population. They constitute half of the world's population. Comma. They work 2/3 of all the work hours. Comma. They earn 1/10 of the world's income. They earn 1/10 of the world's income. And they own 1/100th of the world's property. I repeat, women constitute 50% of the world's population. They work for 66% of all work hours, earn only 10% of the world's income, and own nearly 1% of the world's property. Now, this statement was a part of a United Nations report in 1980. And it was reiterated in a World Bank report in 2012. So it's not as outdated as it may seem, right? And this statement pretty much sums up the position of women across the globe. Very, very far off from the popular perception in our society that women in the West are liberated, they are equal, they have immense freedoms and rights. Feminist scholars and such statistics highlight how patriarchy or male dominance is a global phenomenon. Across the globe, friends, women are subordinated to men, including in the developed West. So if you have to sum up the role or position, the position of women in Western societies, it can be summed up in one word, which is patriarchy. What does the word patriarchy mean or imply? Literally, friends, it is patri plus archy. The term patri refers to father. Archy literally means rule of. So patriarchy literally means rule of the father. That is the literal meaning of the term patriarchy. So originally this term meant male-dominated family or households, where there is a patriarch or an elderly male member in whom all authority is concentrated. However, friends, today the word has much broader connotations. In fact, today the term patriarchy is used to refer to a society or a social system in which men dominate over women, not just confined to the domain of the family. Sylvia Walby, in her book, Theorizing Patriarchy, that's the title of her book. It's not a very old book, it was published in 1990. Defines patriarchy as, and I quote, a system of social structures and practices. A system of social structures and practices in which men dominate, oppress, and exploit women. A system of social structures and practices in which men dominate, oppress, and exploit women. So point is, friends, that patriarchy is a global phenomenon. Across or irrespective of the developing world or underdeveloped those divides, across cultures, across the globe, women are in general subordinated to male authority. in societies. The name of the book is Theorizing Patriarchy. Theorizing Patriarchy. That is the name of Sylvia's book. We will be also taking up the related topic of sexual division of labor alongside. We'll be discussing patriarchy and sexual division of labor alongside. What do we mean by sexual division of labor? Simply meaning that there is, in a society, certain tasks are allocated to men and certain other tasks are allocated to women. That's a sexual division of labor. For example, friends, do you see a clear sexual division of labor in our societies, Indian society, that women perform certain types of tasks and men perform certain other types of tasks? For example, if I were to give you an occupation, would you be able to tell me the gender? If I tell you truck driver, who is it? It's a man or a woman? So you know it for sure, it's a man. Raising children, whose job is it? Women. Cooking for the family, whose job is it? Women. Nurse, whose job is it? Women. No, nursing is a woman's job, right? Combat sports, that's a male thing, right? Fighting wars, that's a man thing. So clearly, friends, we can identify that in our society, there is a sexual division of labor, meaning the male members of the society, they handle certain types of tasks, while female members handle some other types of tasks and duties. What is your sense? Is there a sexual division of labor in other societies as well, particularly the developed West? What's your gut feel? On that issue, friends, हमारे G.P. Murdoch, he conducted a study of more than 200 countries or societies across the globe. He studied more than 200 societies across the globe. And what did he find? That there was sexual division of labor in all societies. Now, these societies were of different types, from simple hunting-gathering types to the most advanced industrial to primarily agrarian economies. They were at different levels of technological development, different dominant religions, different cultures, different races, different geographical terrains. And in all of them, what was present? A sexual division of labor. So according to Murdoch Bhai Sahab, sexual division of labor is a universal phenomenon. In other words, all societies allocate certain tasks to women and certain other tasks to men. Why? Why do all societies, irrespective of their cultural differences, Murdoch sees the reason for this universal sexual division of labor in human biology. Human biology. Tell me, friends, what is your sense? Okay, how many of us are feminists or want to see a gender equal world where women are not subordinated to male authority? Just say yes, yes, yes. More male feminists than women feminists we have, it seems. And none of you seems to be anti-feminism, all of you, almost all of you. Now let us try to look at it this way. Tell me, friends, you are saying men and women should be equal, right? But in terms of their natural capabilities, are they equal? Are they made equal by Mother Nature or God or whatever you want to call it, the powers of creation? And therein lies the answer. Biologically, men and women are undeniably different, right? Even the most hardcore feminists cannot claim that men and women are the same. They have different bodily organs, they have different bodily processes. So processes like childbirth, like lactation, menstruation, they are only associated with the female body and not the male body. Right? So men and women are by nature made different. Now what Murdoch suggests, please appreciate that because of the biological differences between men and women. Okay, so now do you agree with me that men and women are naturally unequal? That men and women are naturally unequal? Okay, now that we agree upon the undeniable differences, right? Let me go into more controversial aspects. The physiological differences between the male body and the female body are well acknowledged, uncontested. Can we say men and women are different in terms of their mental makeup? In the sense, for example, that they're psychologically different. There's this very popular book, Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. And it has highlighted, how the two sexes are literally made of different stuff. So many people contend that women are more emotional, for instance, unlike men. That women are poorer drivers, right? They have bad road sense. Would you agree with that? Now there we have mixed feelings and judgments on these issues. How about that women are more empathetic, more compassionate than men? Would we agree with that? The women are very readily agreeing there. Point is, friends, that clearly there are biological differences or physiological body differences regarding the mental makeup, whether, emotionally, psychologically, men and women are different or not. It is still an unsettled debate. One very important difference now I want you to comment upon. Would you agree that in general, on an average, the male body has superior physical strength than the average female body? The average male body is superior in terms of physical strength than the average female body. Okay, I'm not talking about a female wrestler versus the guy on the street. In general, even women seem to agree here that women are, yes, bodily somewhat more frail or less muscular, less powerful than their male counterparts. Murdoch suggests that these biological differences between men and women account for the universal sexual division of labor. Simply put, friends, societies want to allocate tasks so that they are done most efficiently. Because of two important differences in the male and the female body. Murdoch I am coming to. Two important differences. One is that the male body has superior physical strength than the female body in terms of physical strength. And secondly, that the female body or women is biologically geared for the tasks of reproduction and lactation. These tasks cannot be undertaken by the male body. Lactation means to nurse the child, okay, to feed him the mother's milk, the breast milk. And reproduction, so carrying a baby in the tummy for 9 months. These are exclusively naturally ordained women's tasks. So because of these two important bodily or biological differences between men and women, society allocates those tasks which, see, because the female body is engaged in reproduction and lactation, it is less mobile. It is difficult for women to travel long distances, say when they are pregnant or even after childbirth. If she alone has to nurse the child, the man cannot do it. So the child will have to be with the woman. So therefore, those tasks which require traveling farther away from the home base, they are allocated to men. And those tasks which can be done nearer to the home base are allocated to women. Those tasks which require greater muscular strength are allocated to whom? Those which require greater physical strength are allocated to men, and those which require lesser physical strength are allocated to women. So simply based on the biological differences between men and women, tasks are accordingly allocated by societies across the globe. So now, given this logic, what will be more suitable for a society? Who should go for war and hunting? Men. Who should be cooking the food at home? Women. Who should be going for trade to distant lands? Men. Who should be looking after the cleaning of the house or rearing of the children? Women. So simply for practical considerations of efficiency, societies across the globe, based on biological differences between men and women, allocate them different types of tasks. Simply put, friends, to wrap up the argument, nature has made men and women different. Since nature has made us biologically different from each other, our bodies are suited for different kinds of tasks. A man cannot do a woman's thing. He cannot birth children. Equally true, a man would be better suited to carry out more laborious tasks or which require greater strength, because he has a superior muscular strength. So the biological differences account for the universal division of labor, the universal sexual division of labor. Are you in agreement with Murdoch? Does his argument make sense? Is it reasonably, logically convincing? Most of you then are agreeing with him and are nutty feminists. Okay, fake feminists. Real feminists do not agree with such calls to nature to rationalize or justify sexual division of labor and the resulting subordination of women. Anne Oakley, for instance, strongly refutes Murdoch's claim that sexual division of labor is universal. Using data, she punches holes in Murdoch's argument, highlighting, for instance, in 38 societies, cooking is done by both men and women. In 14 societies, 1/4, lumbering is done by both men and women. Lumbering means, cutting of trees, etc. Friends, are you really convinced that women cannot do tasks which require physical strength? Or those which need traveling to long distances? On construction sites in India, about 10% of the laborers are women. ईंटें उठाती हैं. In many societies, women are an integral part of the army. In many tribal cultures, women participate actively in hunting, gathering, and childbirth does not stop them from doing so. They would, immediately after childbirth, they would start participating in those activities again. There are any number of examples wherein women are not restricted or become dependent on man because of childbirth. Moreover, friends, please appreciate. Today, is it really that you guys are, the men I'm asking, that you guys are using your physical strength or bodily muscles? When it comes to the economy, when it comes to politics, when it comes to warfare even. Right? So technology has taken away or greatly significantly reduced the relevance of physical bodily strength. Then why do men dominate politics or commerce in modern societies? So point is that sexual division of labor, according to feminist scholars like Anne Oakley, is not universal, and the female body or is not an impediment in the performance of certain tasks. Now let us try to appreciate, friends, how this patriarchy, or what is the position of women in society in different spheres. Beginning with the sphere of work, since we are talking about sexual division of labor, let us begin with the sphere of work or the economy. Particularly, let us try to assess how the position of women in the sphere of work has been affected since Industrial Revolution. What is your sense, gut feel? How did industrialization of the West affect the position of women? Did it make them better off or worse off? Okay, so let us analyze through the prism of the writings of Anne Oakley. She looks at how the position of women in Britain, in English society, underwent a transformation. In pre-industrial England, now the economy was primarily agrarian. Anne Oakley contends that both men and women, they participated in economic activities. There was a sexual division of labor. So say if men were tending to the fields, women were looking after the domesticated animals. If men were kind of spinning the yarn, women were dyeing the cloth. So there was some sort of division of labor, but nonetheless, women were an integral part of the production system in pre-industrial society. Okay? With industrialization, or when the Industrial Revolution took place, what happened initially, in its early stages, both men and women joined the new factories as the industrial workforce. I repeat, in pre-industrial England, men and women both contributed to production. Women were integral to the production system. With Industrial Revolution, or in its early stages, say 1750 to about 1840, during this period, both men and women, they joined the industrial workforce as laborers. However, as industrialization advanced, during this period, mid-19th century till about the First World War, some very important developments took place. The male workers during this period started perceiving the female workers as a threat to their employment. The male workers started perceiving female workers as a threat to their own employment. So they devised several ways to confine the women to the home sphere so that they do not participate in the labor market. So the male workers, they created a pressure on the legislators, because of which legislation was passed restricting women's work hours in the name of women's safety. The male workers started denying, membership to female workers in the male-dominated trade unions. And their employment was usually through the trade union. But most importantly, during this period, the mother-housewife role emerged as the primary social role of women. The mother-housewife role emerged as the primary social role of adult women. Meaning now woman came to be socially viewed as primarily a mother and a housewife. That is your primary identity. That is who you are. So women were now somewhat entrapped in the domestic sphere. Now, what happened between 1914 to 1950? Please appreciate the West witnessed 2 world wars during this period. The next period is 1914 to 1950. During this, the World War First and the Second occurred. So, when there is a war effort, there is increased emphasis on rising the industrial output. So, more workers were required. So now, despite such restrictions, women started once again entering the workforce. So does that mean that women are now liberated from men if they are once again entering the workforce? No. Reason being the mother-housewife role that continued to be seen as the primary social identity of a woman, despite women joining the workforce in large numbers. Simply put, friends, and my question is to my female students, even if you become an IAS officer, whose duty is it to ensure that the members of the family are fed meals and the children are growing up all right, will you stop being a mother and a wife? It will remain yours. Please appreciate. So, and that is a typical dilemma that many working women face in our society. On one hand, you have the job pressures, targets, whatnot, and on the other, you are continuously expected to also meet the family obligations. Otherwise, you'll be termed as a bad wife, bad mother. What could be worse if you're a bad mother, right? Why? Because mothering is your primary role as a woman. And there is no such equal or even anywhere near that kind of a pressure on a man. A man is completely freed from any domestic duties because he is considered as the primary breadwinner. For a woman, on the other hand, your job is secondary. While your social role as a mother and wife is the primary role. So friends, my female student friends, IS preparation is alright, but please learn how to cook perfectly round rotis. Okay? That may be harsh, but that is the truth. So that was also not so long back in the West. Now, a lot of water has passed under the bridge since then. Okay, we are another half a century and another 70 odd years since then. What, in your assessment, has happened to women's participation in the labor force? Have they joined in greater numbers in the West, primarily we are talking? Has it increased? Has it declined? So, in the subsequent time period, more and more women entered the labor force. More and more women entered entered gainful employment outside of the home. Now, does that mean that women have acquired gender parity, have attained gender parity at least in the sphere of work? The answer is a clear no, they have not. However, friends, from a Marxist perspective, Friedrich Engels, he wrote that as capitalism advances, what is the logic of capitalism? Should more women laborers enter the labor force or they should not? What will benefit the capitalist? If more women enter the labor market or they don't? The capitalists benefit if more female workers join the labor force. Simply, the bargaining power of the capitalist increases if there are more workers. He can offer lower pay and so on. So, because the logic of capitalism demands that as it proceeds, more women join the labor force. Now, as they gain financial independence, Engels believed that in the working class homes, it will significantly challenge the dominance of the man. So working class women will be liberated once they enter the labor force in large numbers, as they will with the advancement of capitalism. Okay, that is what Engels thought, that as capitalism advances, I repeat, more working class women will enter the labor force, become financially independent, and thereby challenge the male dominance in the sphere of the family. But what our analysis of the past 50-70 years reveals, that yes, as capitalism has advanced, more women have entered the labor market. But that has not led to gender parity. Working class women continue to be subordinated to the working class man. Reasons being, when women enter the workforce in larger numbers, as they are doing, they do not compete with men on equal terms. Feminist scholars have highlighted that women enter a specifically women's jobs market. So even in the outside, in the labor market, there are men's jobs and women's jobs. So women compete with who? Other women and not men. And women's jobs, they are typically lower salary, they are of a more temporary character, and they have lower status in society. Friends, typically nurses are who? Men or women? Nurses are women. And doctors are who? Particularly super specialist doctors who have a very heavy fees and packet. They are typically men. Primary school teachers are who? Women. And as you grow up the education, go higher up in the education system, you will find a preponderance of who? As college professors, etc. Men. Okay? So women enter a women's jobs market competing with other women rather than competing with men on an equal footing. Their women's jobs are associated with lower pay, are often of a temporary character, and they have lesser social status. Also, friends, one second. And Oakley, she has analyzed women's jobs suffering from all these deficiencies. She also highlights, apart from this, that women's jobs are often an extension of their domestic duties. So what women are doing inside the patriarchal home, similar kind of responsibilities are entrusted to her in the workplace. For example, women are expected to raise children at home. Then as a primary school teacher, she is entrusted with similar tasks dealing with little children. At the home, the woman is primarily entrusted with tasks of nursing the elderly and the sick. Likewise, the occupational role of a nurse corresponds to that domestic duty. Even the role of a secretary has been analyzed as such by feminist scholars. So, at the home, the woman does what? She tidies up after her husband and children. The husband will come, he will throw things around, the children will come home from school and they will throw things around and she will put everything back in order. Similarly, at the office, the boss will come, the secretary will put things in order for him to have a look, and then he will kind of do his main man thing, and then she will put everything back in order for him to have a look. In other words, friends, women's roles at the workplace are somewhat of an extension of their domestic duties as a mother and a housewife and a caregiver, right? If we look at recent data about women's participation in the labor force, what we see, yes, all this which I discussed was kind of Anne Oakley's this thing, okay, assessment of women's unequal participation in the labor force. Now let us also look at some recent data. According to an ILO report of 2018, International Labour Organization, there is a significant gender gap in labor force participation rate. Significant gender gap in labor force participation rate. Female labor force participation rate. Female labor force participation rate is 48.5%, while male labor force participation rate is about 71.9%. You can always round it off, okay? Around 50%, around 70%, or there is a gender gap of about 20%. Globally, if you look at it, how this thing pans out, let me discuss the maximum gender gap is in which of these areas, regions of the world? Middle East or South Asia? South Asia means us, or the developed countries? Correct. The Middle East have the highest gender gap in labor force participation rate. In the Middle East, the figures are 77.2% and 18.9%. You can simply say less than 20%. Okay. Or an overall gender gap in labor force participation rate of more than 55%. Yes, this is the global average, the first one. Now these are region specific. This is for the Middle East. In South Asia, we also don't fare too well. 27.6% is female labor force participation rate and 79% is male labor force participation rate. Even in the developed West, there the corresponding figures are 68% and 52.4%. So there is a gender gap in labor force participation much lesser than these other parts, but it is still significant, of more than 15%. This is the Middle East, this is South Asia, and this is Western Europe and America, or the developed Western countries. So they also have a, how much, like about 15% plus gender gap. They have around 50% plus, and they have around 55% plus gender gap in labor force participation rate. So how many people from a labor force participation rate means how many women in the working age group are in the labor market. Okay. In India or in South Asia, 27% women in the working age group are actually in the labor market, while 80% men who are in the working age group are in the labor market. Right? So even in the developed West, there is a significant gender gap in labor force participation rates. The ILO report also says there is a motherhood penalty that women pay or mothers pay. The motherhood penalty means what? That mothers or women who are mothers, they are less likely to be promoted in organizational setups. Therefore, they are less likely to occupy high positions. There is no corresponding fatherhood penalty. In the Americas, friends, in Americas, okay, North and South Americas combined, 39% of the managers were women. Only 39% of managerial positions were occupied by women. 61% were who? Men. So women are less likely to be in managerial positions even in the developed West. In both Americas, North and South America, 60% managers are men. Chaliye. Moving ahead, let me also introduce you to another Marxist concept here related to women's participation in the labor force. Now there is this Marxist concept of reserve army of labor. Reserve army of labor. Which means what? There is a mass of unemployed people who are searching jobs. Okay, so they are a reserve army of labor. So they are a potential labor pool in which the capitalists can dip at will and recruit when required. Marxist feminist scholars have suggested that women are an important component of the reserve army of labor. Marxist feminists like Veronica Beachy. You can double check the spelling of her name on Google. But Veronica Beachy suggests that women constitute an important part of the reserve army of labor. Now what happens is women who constitute half of the population, okay, roughly, their primary or an important role for them, even in contemporary times, continues to be the mother-wife role. So because of the social importance of the mother-wife role that women play, there is a discontinuity in their employment pattern. Simply put, when a woman becomes pregnant, she may discontinue her job. Reserve army of labor means what? It is a part of the working class population who are not employed, who are not in gainful employment, but they are searching or seeking employment. So they can be recruited into the industrial workforce as and when required by the capitalists. Now women, because of their important mother-wife role that they play, they often discontinue with their employment. once they give birth to children, many women. But when the child grows up, okay, he does not require day-to-day monitoring and looking after, then those women are once again freed from their mothering duties and they are available to join the workforce. Now, when they rejoin the workforce, they are typically willing to settle for a lesser pay. Also, they are more likely to accept a temporary or part-time job. Why? The man continues to be seen as the primary breadwinner of the family. So you cannot treat the male worker like that. But the female worker, they can be recruited. Now, industrial capitalism, Marx has written, it goes through, kind of periods of boom and slump. Okay, so it is cyclical in nature, industrial capitalism. When there is a sudden economic upswing, then you need to increase production. For that, you need more workers. But when there is a downturn, then you need to lay off those extra workers. You cannot afford, or if you reach into your profits, you cannot afford the excessive workforce. So you need to lay off a large number of workers. So who will be laid off? Who can be recruited when required and laid off when necessary? Women. Okay, so this is how the capitalist system makes use of women as part of the reserve army of labor. They are basically a dispensable part of the workforce. Socially, their important role is mothering, performing wifely duties. So their participation in the economy is not taken that seriously. For the same job, they can be paid lesser. So there is a disparity, pay disparity in terms of the gender. Also appreciate, friends, from a Marxist perspective. From a Marxist perspective, women more than male workers, female workers are even more socialized to be docile, non-violent, non-aggressive, subservient to authority. So they make even for a better, more pliant workforce for the capitalist. Right? Other aspects of women's subordinate position in the workforce, please appreciate. Apart from the Marxist assessment or the feminist Marxist view, please also appreciate women in the workplace. They also encounter a glass ceiling. Glass ceiling is what? It implies an invisible barrier which women encounter when they try to rise to the top in the corporate hierarchy. Now, theoretically or formally, there is no barrier to women's rise to the top. Okay, women can become CEOs or MDs, etc., as much as any man can, theoretically. But practically, when women start rising the corporate ladder, they encounter a glass ceiling or an invisible barrier. What is that invisible barrier? Why do women find it difficult to rise to the top of the corporate hierarchy? Yes, one is the motherhood penalty that they pay. Apart from that, how many of you men and feminist men have worked under a female boss? Now the male ego is unwilling to basically succumb to a female authority figure. Okay, a man would get scolded by, get insulted by, reprimanded by a male boss, but not by a female boss. So male subordinates grudge female bosses. Right? Therefore, fewer women are kind of promoted to the top levels in a corporate world. Friends, forget others. A person no less than Indra Nooyi, who was the president of PepsiCo and who possibly still is. She had once commented how she juggles between these domestic duties and her role as a CEO of a multi-billion-dollar behemoth. Right? So all women kind of confront these issues. And then there is this issue of sexual harassment at the workplace. So friends, what kind of men do, harass women sexually? Is it people like us, educated engineers and whatnot? Is it there in the West, who are so advanced, educationally and in so many other ways? Sexual harassment at the workplace became a global issue and emanating from the West in the #MeToo movement. In recent memory. It is very common, friends. Sexual harassment at the workplace is very common. How many of you have either done it or been victims of it or witnessed it? It could take a variety of forms. To passing lewd comments, inappropriate touching, forwarding, nowadays in the days of technology, forwarding inappropriate messages or jokes, quote unquote, unwanted sexual advances or sexist jokes. How many of you have witnessed such kind of behavior? It is quite rampant. There was a national survey in America by an organization by the name of Stop Street Harassment. Stop Street Harassment. Okay. Which found that, and I'm not talking just about the work sphere, but overall, 81% women, an astounding figure, 81% of the women respondents had experienced some form of sexual harassment. Stop Street Harassment, that's the name of the civil society organization which conducted this survey. Elizabeth Stanko defines sexual harassment as unwanted sexual attention. Unwanted sexual attention. It can take many forms. It could be verbal, okay, like passing lewd comments, or seemingly casual office banter. आज बहुत अच्छी लग रही हो, बहुत जज रही हो, kind of a casual comment being passed. It could be visual, such as a stare in an inappropriate manner, a longer than usual stare at a female colleague. How many of you have felt it, or seen it, or done it? Particularly my female students, if you would like to share or seen it happen, right? And this is what the Me Too movement wanted to express, that Me Too, because there was this, previously there was this notion as if either it is the woman's fault, or that she has somehow invited such unwanted sexual attention, or she's seeking it, right, or some sort of inappropriateness on her part, which is luring men. But then the Me Too movement was used by women across the globe, across cultures, including in India, to highlight that this was so commonplace a practice. It could be unwanted pressures for sexual favors, okay, and there would be an implicit threat of demotion or non-promotion or some such thing at the workplace, or a physical assault. It could be unwanted touching, pinching, etc. Nowadays, technology enabled, right? Forwarding inappropriate messages, etc. And Stanko suggests that sexual harassment is very commonplace. Why? So friends, why do men intimidate women? Particularly at the workplace. What's the reason? Why is sexual harassment at the workplace so common? What do men seek to get from it? And it is not sex. Oftentimes, the men very well know that it will not lead to a sexual encounter. Absolutely. It is a mechanism by men to exert their dominance and control over the workplace. So, Stanko suggests that men engage in sexual harassment at the workplace to intimidate women workers. Particularly, they seek to mark out the workplace, the office, the factory floor, as a male area or a male arena, a boys' club, so that the work environment becomes male territory or male exclusive zone. Something very casual like sexual banter. Men would talk about their sexual experiences at the workplace, making their female colleagues somewhat uncomfortable. The idea is that if you want to work, you must adjust to this. This is very normal and acceptable amongst men. So you must become one of the boys and somehow kind of laugh it off or make it, unsunny, unheard, kind of ignore such casual sexual banter. Such casual sexual banter also serves to enhance male solidarity. If not at the workplace, for those of you who are not working or never worked, you may have encountered a similar experience in school or college life. Okay. Lisa Atkins suggests that there is a sexualization of women's work. There is no, they are not Marxists. These are feminist scholars, okay, not Marxists. There is a sexualization of women's work. Simply put, friends, in many industries, women are employed as a sexual attraction. In many industries, women are employed for sexual attraction. For example, barmaids in the hospitality industry, waitresses, receptionists, air hostesses. In all such kind of occupations, the female recruits are expected to be young and physically attractive. And they are chosen for these features, for their youth and physical attractiveness. In many such professions, unwanted sexual advances from male customers are to be expected. Yes, likewise in the modeling profession. So, unwanted sexual advances, comments, etc. from male customers are to be expected. And how they are supposed to deal with them? Are they supposed to complain, report? On the other hand, they are expected to adjust, manage such unwanted sexual advances, handle them tactfully. And those who do end up complaining, either they are counseled not to complain. If they do not comply, then they would be either demoted or dismissed. In several of such jobs, women employees are in fact encouraged and taught to be somewhat sexual. In the sense, sexual in the sense, not have sex, but dress in a manner which makes them physically more attractive, smile often, even engage in harmless flirting with male customers. Right? Let us look at the realm of religion. Moving on out of the economy to religion. Is religion patriarchal, male dominated? Okay, beginning with our own religion, presuming for most of you it is Hinduism, given Indian demographics, no bias. Is Hinduism patriarchal? To put things in perspective, friends, no other religion has so many female deities. No other significant world religion, right? Any case, we will come to analyzing Hinduism from a feminist lens in the next paper, in paper 2. For now, what is your assessment? What about the Western religions like Christianity, Judaism? Are they patriarchal? Karen Armstrong suggests that all religions are patriarchal. All religions. Most religions are male dominated and relegate women to a marginal position. Religious symbolism and language, okay, used in scriptures. God is addressed as He. So God is male. Prophets, messengers of God are also male. Women are relegated or considered as adjuncts to male figures, as wives, daughters, mothers. Most church positions are occupied by men. The key positions in churches or organized religions are almost an exclusively male preserve and often closed for women. Most religious texts are authored by men. Religion, or not only it is not just about one's relationship with God. Religion also outlines various important social rules, such as governing the relationship between man and woman, rights over children, etc. Social rules or inheritance of property. Social rules emanating from religion on all these aspects are also favoring men. Menstruation is considered as impure in several religions. And menstruating women are prohibited from entering places of worship. Does that also happen in your religion? Forget Sabrimala. In your homes, in your and my homes, are menstruating women prevented from entering the temple room? Simone de Beauvoir. She was a very pioneer feminist scholar who critiqued religion. Her book is titled The Second Sex. The Second Sex. She suggests that religion is an opiate for women. It is an opiate for women. Opiate in the sense, it's like opium, a delusional drug. Okay, this is a Marxist concept. Marx talked about how religion is an opium for the masses, for the working class. Simone de Beauvoir, she applies this concept to explain the, how religion subordinates women. So she suggests that religion is an opiate for women. Opiate or a drug in the sense, friends, it does not alleviate your pain, but it numbs you. It lulls you into inaction. How does it do that? So women are, promised a good afterlife. If they are dutiful wives, good mothers in this life. So that is how religion offers somewhat of a compensation in the afterlife for good conformist behavior, conforming to patriarchal norms in this world. So it helps to promote their subordination. Let us analyze the institution of marriage. Simone de Beauvoir, let me repeat, suggests in her book The Second Sex that religion is an opiate for women. It is like a drug which keeps them passive and it perpetuates their subjugation. It shows them visions of a wonderful afterlife. If they are conformist, they conform to the patriarchal norms in this world. In Hinduism, friends, for Hindu women, if you are good mothers and wives, if you collect good karma, right, you might just be born as a man in the next janam. And what better could you have it? Then you will not be an economic burden on your father. Then you will not have any threats of sexual violence. Then you can loaf around in the streets till late hours and whatnot. And you can be a pati instead of a patni, right? Actually, in marriage, friends, is marriage a partnership of equals? Conventionally, people see marriages as, either it's a happy marriage or it's a bad marriage, right? It's a happy marriage if the couple is happy. If it's a bad marriage, if the couple is unhappy. Jessie Bernard, she suggests that in every marriage, there are two marriages. There is a man's marriage and there is a woman's marriage. And the two are often very different from each other. In every marriage, there is a man's marriage and a woman's marriage. So, a man may be happy in the same marriage while the woman is unhappy in that very same marriage. Not only at an individual couple level, even society-wide and from statistics. Jesse Bernard deduced that married men live longer, healthier, and more successful lives than unmarried men. Married men live longer, healthier, and more successful lives than unmarried men. While married women suffer from poorer health, anxiety, and greater dissatisfaction compared to unmarried women. I repeat, married men live longer, healthier, more successful lives than unmarried ones, while married women suffer from poorer health, anxiety, and dissatisfaction compared to unmarried women. All in all, friends, men are the net beneficiaries of marriage, while women suffer in marriage. Have you seen this around you? In couples you would know somewhat intimately. Bhai, bhabhi, mama, mami, chacha, chachi. Just have an analysis. Okay? Kind of a cursory, anecdotal analysis. For those who will, you will have a real peek in their lives. Anne Oakley, she has also analyzed the housewife role very critically. Now, Anne Oakley suggests that very large number of women are trapped into the housewife role. And it is one of the most alienating occupations. Housewives work for long hours. There are no holidays. They work in isolation in their own homes. It is a daily drudgery, monotonous routine, same thing day after day after day. There are no chances of promotion or career advancement. And to cap it all, it is not even considered as work. They continue to remain dependent on men, not becoming financially independent. You ask a typical Indian housewife, it could be your mother or any relative, what does she do? And her typical refrain is, I don't do anything. मैं कुछ नहीं करती, मैं खाली बैठी. Yes or no? So housework is socially described as non-work, despite the daily drudgery and long hours that women put into housework. And please appreciate, housework is almost exclusively entrusted to women. Almost exclusively. Right? So various aspects of social life we see, there is present what? Then we move on to the next concept of patriarchal bargain. Okay, now patriarchal bargain means what? It is a term which was developed by a Turkish feminist economist, Deniz Kandiyoti. Deniz Kandiyoti. She wrote an article titled Bargaining with Patriarchy. Bargaining with patriarchy. So what she suggests that in a patriarchal society, an individual woman may often end up striking a bargain with patriarchy. Bargain in the sense, she agrees to conform to the demands and expectations of the patriarchal society. In fact, she becomes a torchbearer of patriarchy. Why? Because she seeks certain rewards in return. So because of patriarchal bargain, women internalize patriarchal norms, conform to them, and even ensure the application and the adherence to patriarchal norms by other women. Are you with me on this slightly or not? I'm being asked how this happens. Simply, friends, men ensure, or a patriarchal society ensures that women internalize patriarchal norms. Because she thoroughly internalizes them, if she conforms to them, she is rewarded by the patriarchal society. Because of patriarchal bargain, women engage in patriarchal behavior. They perpetuate patriarchy. They literally become complicit in their own oppression by the patriarchal setup. For example, friends, you tell me, forget the theoretical concept, you tell me, in our society, who forces the daughter-in-law or who puts pressure on the daughter-in-law to give birth to a male child? It is the mother-in-law. Who tells the daughter to dress appropriately and not in revealing clothes or too bold clothes? Does the father do that? It is the mother who would do that. Who points fingers at the character of a woman who rises quickly up the corporate hierarchy? It is often her female colleagues. Right? So the implication being that she slept her way to the top, bluntly put. Point is, friends, that women often uphold patriarchal norms. They conform to patriarchal norms and expect other women to also conform to them. This is what is known as patriarchal bargain. Now, why do women do that? Are they crazy? either in terms of some social rewards, it could be psychological rewards. Why does the mother-in-law put pressure on the daughter-in-law to, what do you call, birth a son for her a pota? Because in a patriarchal, patrilineal society, it enables the mother-in-law to ensure that her lineage continues. पोते से ही घर चलता है, वंश आगे चलता है, simply put. Why does a mother, engage in moral policing of the daughter, looking out keenly at what time she returns or what kind of clothes she wears? Because if she doesn't, it reflects poorly on her mothering, that she was a bad mother. And if the daughter dresses appropriately, who is rewarded by the society? That you are such a wonderful mother, right? You have such a sanskari daughter. So the mother derives psychological satisfaction. So this is how, using this concept, Denise Kandiyoti explains why women in many traditional societies, they conform to patriarchal norms and uphold them, in fact impose them on fellow women. Now because of patriarchal bargain, Kandiyoti suggests, individually a woman may benefit. But as a social group, women on the whole, they are disadvantaged. And men cleverly, friends, they have literally outsourced patriarchy. To whom? To women. Right? So this is the concept of patriarchal bargain. Let us now also appreciate Sylvia Wolby's explanation of patriarchy. Wolby, friends, suggests that there are 6 structures. There are 6 structures in the society which contribute to the subordination of women and maintaining male dominance. Sylvia Wolby. Those 6 patriarchal structures are, firstly, household production. Now, all these concepts, or some of them we have discussed at length, I'm just putting them in a theoretical framework. Household production, meaning what? Within the household, men continue to benefit from women's unpaid labor. So the household chores are allocated to women by the society, and she was writing in the Western context. Women continue to be burdened with the household chores as well as child rearing. Second is paid work. So this is what the work she is doing inside the home. The second is paid work. Again, the same argument that men dominate the best paid jobs. Women enter low-key, low-paying, low-status jobs, part-time jobs. Often women discontinue employment. So in the realm of paid work, they are also disadvantaged. Thirdly, the state. State roughly translating to the government. Okay, so the whole legal framework and government. According to Wolby, the state is patriarchal. So many, symbols of the state, like the police force, they are dominated by men. Political offices, men dominate. Bureaucracy is a male preserve. So state continues to be patriarchal, and pro-women legislation is poorly enforced. So poor legislation is, ineffectively enforced. Fourth is culture. Various aspects of culture, very importantly, increasingly mass media. Okay, they put different expectations on men and women. So there is a stereotypical depiction of women. And one of the very important feminine attributes that a woman is expected to possess in Western culture is what? She should be what? She should be attractive for men. A very important role in this, cultural reproduction of patriarchy is carried out by pornography. Pornography, which in today's times is all pervasive. It's right in our hands, in our mobile phones, in our desktops, laptops. We are forever connected. Now, pornography particularly dehumanizes women, objectifies them. And almost all of pornography, friends, it is from the perspective of who? A male audience or a female audience? It is to cater to the male gaze. So the male voyeuristic eye, to satisfy its sexual desires, the whole pornography industry, which is a billions of dollar industry, thrives. And pornography particularly promotes, what does pornography show? How is the sexual act? Is it one of making tender love? Forming an emotional bond with the other? No, it promotes aggression and violence, glorifies them. In fact, it also projects the idea that women enjoy being violated, dominated. Next is sexuality. Regarding human sexuality, even in the Western world, there continue to be double standards or different expectations from men and women. So women who are sexually very active or adventurous, they are condemned as sluts. While men who are sexually adventurous, who boast of multiple sexual conquests with numerous women, they are seen as what? Sluts. Karl Anish famously stated, she's a feminist scholar, that the personal is political. The personal is political. What do we mean? That, the personal experience between a man and a woman within the domain of the house, personal relationships of the husband and wife, their sexual encounters, they are overloaded with political implications. They are affected by wider social structures. The man-woman relationship is necessarily a political one, meaning it is a relationship in which men dominate, control women. So feminist scholars developed a critique of the nuclear family form and the glorified family values as complicit in perpetuating patriarchy. So the subordination of a woman continues from the bed to the White House. And finally, violence. Violence is a very important form of male control of women. According to the United Nations Women Friends, how prevalent is violence against women? Any idea? Do we, the educated types, also do it? Or is it the drunken rickshaw puller who would do it? According to UN Women, 1 in every 3 women across the globe has experienced violence, either from an intimate partner or a non-partner, or both. So it is very rampant, very commonplace. With that, and you'll have to bear with me, we take a well-deserved break, after which we continue. According to UN Women, 1 in 3 women worldwide have experienced violence. Just to clarify, we are not yet done for the day. Unequal exploit. In the previous session, hello, welcome back, friends. Please confirm that you are with me. I'm visible, audible, all right? Yes, thank you. So, friends, in the previous session, it became quite apparent that we live in a patriarchal world, right, including the developed West. Okay, the society is by and large male dominated in various spheres. So, tell me, friends, should we continue to live in Chaliye, so over the next, as soon as possible, 15 minutes to half an hour, we will do away with patriarchy. And we'll do so as quickly as possible, right? Now, patriarchy has developed and stayed for a very long while, so it took us a long time to discuss it. Now, due to practical considerations and this thing, we will end it very quickly. So, tell me, friends, see, feminist ideas, okay? Feminists are basically those who want to create a more gender-just society or a gender-equal society. They strive for women's rights, particularly equality between men and women in various areas of social life. Now, feminist ideas can broadly be classified into liberal feminism, Marxist feminism, and radical feminism. Okay? So, what is liberal feminism? As the term suggests, liberal feminist ideas, they are somewhat, they seek incremental improvements in the position of women broadly within the prevailing social structures. So, they seek reforms of the existing society. In contrast, radical feminists, they champion a complete overhaul of the existing structure, literally its replacement by a new social order, right? And Marxists, then our Marxists, we'll discuss what they say. Liberal feminism is championed by scholars like Betty Friedan, Gloria Steinem, and there are scores of others, but I would rather not overload you with names. Liberal feminists seek greater equality, greater gender equality through legal and political reforms. Can you suggest to me certain liberal feminist ideas? What can we do to make the lot of women better in the existing society? So many of you are suggesting about political reservation and legislative measures such as stricter punishment for crimes against women. So you're absolutely right. Liberal feminist goalposts or objectives would include gender sensitization, more job opportunities for women, equal pay for equal work, equal access to educational opportunities, social security for vulnerable women, greater political representation through legal measures, etc. So through the agency of the law, court rulings and legal progressive legislation, women can attain greater parity vis-a-vis men in the existing, particularly Western democratic societies. Making, say, public spaces safer for women, more stringent punishments for crimes against women, so many of these. In the workplace, you encourage, paid maternity leaves, or having creches at the workplace so that children can be taken care of, etc. Are you with me on this? You better be with me on this if you want the lecture to be concluded soon. Otherwise, I have no problems discussing and explaining to you in great detail. So somewhat, iterative, progressive measures, primarily through legislation and court rulings, to improve the lot of women. That's the liberal feminist position. What would Marxist feminists argue? Now, according to Marxist feminist friends, the primary reason for women's domination is what? It's rooted in economic inequality. Women are subordinated because in a capitalist society, their labor is uncompensated or undercompensated. Effectively, friends, it is capitalism which is patriarchal. So women cannot be liberated by such iterative measures within the framework of a capitalist society. Scholars like Sheila Robotham, Angela Davis, Claudia Jones, they suggest that women's oppression is rooted in capitalist structures. And they explain then how capitalism benefits from women's subordination. They serve as a reserve army of labor, they reproduce labor, the working class women reproduce labor power, and so on and so forth. They reduce the bargaining power of the man, and so on. So, capitalist system has a vested interest in perpetuating patriarchy. It benefits from patriarchy. Marxist feminism means those feminist scholars who kind of analyze patriarchy using a Marxist framework, focusing particularly on economic or class relations. So, the only way in which gender equality can be established is by establishing a communist society. Private property must be abolished, and a communist society. Private property must be abolished, and a communist society needs to be established. So, changes need to be brought about in the economic base. In a communist society, women will be equal participants in the production system. Marxist scholars' names are mentioned here: Sheila Robotham, Angela Davis, Claudia Jones. Sheila Robotham, Angela Davis, Claudia Jones. Okay, these are Marxist scholars. So women cannot be liberated within the framework of a capitalist society through such incremental, piecemeal measures. Rather, an abolition of the capitalist, exploitative capitalist system alone can bring an end to women's exploitation. Coming to radical feminism. Radical feminism, friends, they will not stop at anything short of a complete overhaul of the present social order. Scholars like Shulamit Firestone, Susan Brown-Miller, Carol Hanist, they suggest that a complete replacement of the existing social structures and social relations is required. Some of the varied radical measures suggested by radical feminists include, for example, what they argue is that women need to be freed from the mother-housewife role in which she is trapped. So the mother-wife role needs to be abolished. As long as this social role remains, women cannot be freed from the clutches of patriarchy. Another idea is, so how do you free a woman from the mothering role? For instance, that can be done by collective child rearing by the state. Why should women be entrusted with the task of raising children, which ties them down and makes them dependent on a man? So there needs to be a system of collective child rearing. Let the whole society, collectively or through the state, raise children. It should not be solely a woman's responsibility or social role. Firestone, her name is Firestone, S-T-O-N-E. Okay, I'll make her spit fire and stones in just a while. Also, radical feminists champion reproductive rights, that women must have full control and rights over their own bodies, very importantly, the right to have abortion or use contraceptives. They critique patriarchy in all its dimensions, particularly motherhood, the family system, religion, personal relationships, or the sexual relationship between a man and a woman, etc. Another radical idea is to create, I'm erasing these for lack of space, is to create a gender-free society. So people should not be compartmentalized and constrained in these narrow social definitions of man and woman. See, these are social constructs. Gender is a social construct. Please appreciate. Gender is a social construct, which is different from sex. Male, female, these are biological concepts. While man and woman, these are social constructs. In other words, friends, those who are born with male genitalia, they are raised to be a man, or certain attributes which are identified as masculine. Masculine traits are taught to those who are born with male genitalia, and those who are born with female genitalia, meaning private parts, they are raised to be a woman, meaning feminine traits they are socialized into. Are you able to appreciate? You know, it is said that one is born a female and made into a woman. What do you mean by that? How is a female made into a woman? So society expects certain different things from a man and certain different things from a woman in terms of their behavior, their social roles, their occupations, their personality traits. So children are socialized since birth into acquiring those gender-specific traits. For example, friends, can you tell me, I have two daughters, so what kind of toys have they been made to or taught to play with? And you have all guessed it, right? They have Barbies and dolls, and one important thing you are missing, very important for a future role. Yes, kitchen sets, absolutely, and tending to the teddy bear, right? So she has to grow up to be a kitchen lady, a mother, so likewise appropriate, kind of. And if my child was a boy, what kind of toys would we have got him? Guns and cars and robots. So point is, friends, through socialization, the male children, they are, masculine traits are inculcated in them by the society. Masculine traits like aggression, violence, domination, right? While women, or the girl child, she is encouraged to inculcate certain womanly traits or feminine traits, like how should a girl be? She has to be coy, tender, emotional. So we have started teaching our 6-year-old, when my daughter was 5-6 years old, she's now 9 years old, we have started teaching her to sit appropriately. How many of you have received that training? Right? So girls are taught to sit in a particular manner. Right? And boys are taught to sit in a different manner with their legs spread wide apart. Girls are expected to laugh in a different manner. And boys are expected to laugh out loudly in every which way. Boys are taught to be dominant, assertive, aggressive, even violent. And girls are raised to be very different. So point is, friends, that society is artificially dividing persons into these boxes of males and female, or men and women. Radical feminists suggest a gender-free society. So a person will no longer be constrained into these narrow gender roles. Such a society would see a very wide celebration, acceptance of a variety of sexual orientations, dressing forms. So there would be no taboo associated with cross-dressing, or a male person may be born male, but he may be a homemaker, right? A person may be born a female, and she may wear male clothes and whatever. So that is another thing. Then there are some lesbian feminists, lesbian feminism. What they suggest, scholars like Rita Mae Brown, scholars like Barbara Smith. Yes, girls are expected to even sneeze very politely, right? Yes, they are raised to be docile and not laugh out loud or not get very angry, absolutely yes. So lesbian feminist scholars, activists, they suggest that women should focus their energy, their attention, develop lasting relationships with their fellow women rather than wasting their energies on men. According to such scholar activists, heterosexuality is patriarchal. Lesbian feminists argue that women should develop lasting, intimate relationships with other women instead of men. According to them, heterosexuality is a patriarchal construct. So in a heterosexual relationship, the man is bound to dominate a woman, because that is how the two genders are differently socialized. Moreover, given the greater male physical strength, a heterosexual relationship can never be one between equals. So from their perspective, lesbianism is the logical result of feminism. Okay? Let me end with, and we are ending, let me end with Shulamit Firestone. Her book is titled, one of her works is titled The Dialectic of Sex. The Dialectic of Sex. She kind of seeks inspiration from and critiques Marxist framework in this book. So what she suggests that, what do you call? Gender inequality inequality emerge. So the Marxist solution of ending class inequality will not end the gender inequality. How it happened, friends? Now, because of the biological function of the female body, which is of childbirth and lactation, okay? Since the woman's body is naturally, it alone can carry a child and kind of, so this thing, breastfeed the child. Because of these biological functions, women became dependent on men. So imagine those olden days, how gender inequality emerged. Because in a hunting-gathering kind of a environment, right? When the woman was pregnant with a child, she could not have gone on those hunting expeditions, and she required the care, or she became dependent upon the male members of the tribe to secure her food, security from animals, etc. Right? Now, when women became dependent on men developed a power psychology. What's a power psychology? They started getting a psychological kick out of this dependence of women on them. They started enjoying it. Maza aa raha hai. Dekha, without me, she cannot meet her basic needs like food, shelter, security. Now, once this power psychology was developed, seeking satisfaction, gratification from dependence of others, then some men sought to establish their dominance over other men. And that is how class inequality emerged. Are you with me, with Shulamit, on this? Because of the biological bodily function of pregnancy, childbirth, lactation, women became dependent on men for the fulfillment of their basic needs. Because of this, men developed a power psychology. Then some men sought to extend their domination and control to other men, and thus emerged private property and class inequality. So, how can gender equality be achieved? Since gender equality be achieved. Since gender inequality is rooted in human biology, only when women can be freed from the biological task of reproduction will they be truly liberated. So, Firestone proposed that through technological advancements, once human babies can be created and sustained outside of the female body, then we will be able to dismantle patriarchy. Okay? But there's a problem in this solution. Who controls the science and technology establishment? The science and technology establishment is also controlled by men. So they will do all they have in their power to prevent the development of such technologies. Okay? So women will have to seize not only the instruments of production but also the instruments of reproduction in order to break patriarchy. And with that, we are done for the day. Enjoy hating on men and God bless. I will see you after 150 to 200 years when, as the global gender gap report predicts, we may be somewhat closer to gender equality. Till then, you let me lord over you. Dhanyavad.